I expect to laugh, you know, it should be something about satire, I read. Coincidentally, I just put in my voters registration today, so I think they'll talk about that a little bit and why it's important to vote and to know something or a lot about the presidential candidates, for example. So.
Well, we say you do the first and next time. Okay. When you blow it up, it gets where it's Quiet. How are you? You're welcome. Thank you. Can you touch friends? Thank you very much.
This is beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Have you been to the restaurant?
Okay, are there greens, blues, and whites?
Well,
nice conversation and dialogue and kind of get some like insight into like the political process and like the election stuff. I think it should be like interesting and also like fun and informative. You know.
Learn what it's like to actually be a real live reporter for a news station and covering an actual event that has a very big impact on our society.
Okay, I'll try.
yeah, quiz down there. I want you to dry your hands for sure. We're through talking.
I'm planning to experience an eye-opening experience, not to be redundant. Carl Bernstein was one of the two men on the Washington Post who unearthed the Watergate scandal and in a sense changed the world of media ethics, as it was in addition to breaking such a violent story. I found it very intriguing, and I'm enthralled that I'll get the chance to hear his perspectives on how things have changed and what has remained the same since he was in journalism.
I think fireworks are going to fly.
No, I'm going center.
I'm not PjO'Rourke. But it really takes somebody like PJ to capture the essence of where we are today, because this really is the election from hell. Time to look at America, because this election is not just about Donald Trump and Hilary Clinton, but it really is a look at ourselves and where our political culture is today, where our media culture is today, where we are as a country and our citizenry is today. So I'd like to throw a few ideas out about this election, but I want to start and ask something about this audience. How many people here want to see Hillary Clinton elected the next president of the United States? Rather, if we had had two different candidates. I rest my case. Would suggest that as anomalous as Donald Trump might seem and is, there also is a certain logic in terms of where we are coming from in this election, going back the last 20, 25 years in America, that lends a certain plausibility to this outrageous situation in a country, the greatest country on earth, 320 million people, and the two candidates that are fielded by the two parties are not regarded highly, to say the least, by most of the electorate. Well, our political system obviously hasn't been working for a long time, but we have to look as well, not just at the politicians, it seems to me, but at the people of the country as well. It's very easy to blame the politicians for the conditions of our political system, the fact that the Congress of the United States is a broken institution and has been for 30 years or more. Excuse me. I think we also, and we can get on to the press, and we'll talk about the press, whether or not it does its job well. But let's also ask the question, are we doing our jobs as citizens well? And I would suggest that we have been in a spiral in this country, culturally, in which, through the culture wars of the last 20, 25 years, people increasingly are looking not for what I, as a journalist, call the best obtainable version of the truth about the real existing conditions in the country, about the candidates for office, about the institutions in our country and whether they're working or not, but rather people have been looking for easy answers to tough questions, but particularly looking for information that buttresses and is used as ammunition for preconceived notions that we already have, religious beliefs, cultural beliefs. So we're not open to the truth nearly to the extent that we were, say, at the time of Watergate, when Richard Nixon, a Republican president, resigned office with a consensus in the country that he was a criminal and had to resign office. And it did not have to do with whether he was a Republican or a Democrat, but rather that he was a criminal president of the United States. And that the system had worked in such a way that the institutions of government, the citizenry, the press, all had functioned, all had played their role. And perhaps it's the last time that we were able to see the system work so well in this country. Imagine, we now have in Donald Trump, and I'll talk about Hillary Clinton in a moment, and PJ will certainly have some reflections on Hillary Clinton. We are now in a situation where the nominee of one of the two major parties for President of the United States is a neo-fascist, has run a demagogic, bigoted, racist campaign, nativist, and there's been a lot of talk about the press and saying, oh, well, the press is taking sides in this election. I think you can go back to this notion of what is the best obtainable version of the truth about Donald Trump. It is that he's a bigot in his rhetoric, in how he's run his campaign. It is that it's been an appeal to a kind of a peculiarly American kind of neo-fascism, the ultimate leader. The hell with the Constitution. I'll do this, I'll do that. We haven't seen this in our history by a nominee for President of the United States. And whatever the case, whether he wins or loses, he is going to get 40% of the vote in this country. That's astonishing. A con man who is incapable almost of speaking the truth, who